Halifax side will line up with Miles Greenwood at fullback, Lee Patterson, John Goddard, James Haley, Damien Gibson, who will captain the side on his 200th Halifax appearance, and Graham Holroyd and Ben Black in the halfbacks. The forwards, Paul Southern, Mark Gleeson, David Wrench, Richard Varkulis, Paul Smith and Shad Royston. So no Dave Larder or Dana Wilson. On the bench, Sean Penkovic, Mark Flanagan, Danny Heaton and Frank Watini for the coach Matt Calland. Ian Hardman at fullback for the Widnes Vikings. Then it's Dean Gaskell, Steve Tyra, Tim Hartley, Gavin Dodd, John Duffy and Matty Smith. In the forwards, Ian Morrison, Mark Smith, the captain, Jim Gannon, who is available to play, won his appeal against suspension. A one-match ban picked up against Whitehaven was crossed off. He can play. Christine, Richard Fletcher and Bob Bezic. On the bench, Paul Noon, Martin McLaughlin, Gareth Morton and French international Adel Falouz has been back home in France for the last few weeks. He is still registered as a Widnes player. He's returned to England and straight into the Widnes Viking side tonight for Steve McCormack. Well, a good contingent of Widnes Viking supporters here tonight to follow the progress of their side. A Widnes side that finished down in 6th place in the table, but had they not suffered that 9-point deduction, they would in fact have finished in 3rd place in the table, above Halifax. I think, Phil, it shows how close these two sides are.
Well, every indication is that this will be a thrilling game of rugby league. Halifax have developed a reputation this year as real entertainers in this division. They've remarkably scored some spectacular tries, and for that reason, Widnes, as they arrive here, know that they too will have to play at or close to their very best. They're going to have to move the ball around far more and support the ball carrier more than they did when they last appeared on Sky Sports, and I expect us to see an entertaining and potentially high-scoring game this evening.
Steve McCormack hoping to reach yet another grand final, been involved in the last 4 and lost them all, and he's pinning his hopes on the youngsters like Steve Tyra there, who's had a big impact on this Widnes side since he joined on loan from St Helens. And here comes this Halifax side, who I think are going to form a guard of honour for Damien Gibson, who will bring up the rear, and marking his 200th appearance for the club. A remarkable spell really in this country for Damien Gibson. Came over with the North Queensland Cowboys in the World Club Challenge all those years ago, 1997, and still going strong. And there he goes, 200 up for this Halifax club in his testimonial year as well.
You don't often see a captain play on the left wing in a game of rugby league. That's what Gibson will do tonight. I suppose he has the opportunity to inspire his players. He's one of those guys who appears anywhere over the field, and I suppose he'll want to have a big game here tonight, marking the 200th appearance.
Referee is Jamie Leahy, and we expect a lot of points, but possibly also a bit of fire and brimstone as well, because these two met in a 26-all draw most recently, which was a fairly fiery encounter, and given that the loser goes out here tonight, there is a lot at stake as we get the game underway immediately with a short kickoff, and that will be joy to the eyes of Phil Clark.
Well, it is. It shows that they're going to contest possession whenever possible. Fortunately for the Widnes side, Bob Bezic just hung around, knowing that there'd be a tap back potentially from the Halifax side. But it's good to see Halifax wanting to attack even when they don't have possession.
And that's why they're so dangerous in this division. They attack in every play that they do. The short kick-off, that's what they seem to go for all the time, but that shows how confident as well they are in their defensive structure.
So it didn't come off for Halifax, and they find themselves defending this first set of 6. Now here's Matty Smith. Ian Morrison with a charge up the middle of the field. He's already received an accolade just this last few days, being named the Supporters Club Player of the Year, Morrison, as Matty Smith hoists that kick. First tester for Miles Greenwood, and Greenwood equal to the challenge, and it was a challenge.
I think he'd prefer a little more help next time. Not only a few bodies stood in front of him, but some more pressure applied to the Widnes player when he kicked the ball. The higher up you go in rugby league, you tend to find the kicker gets less time. Widnes player there given far too long really to put the kick exactly where he wanted it. But a penalty here now for offside against Widnes. Just a little too anxious moving up has allowed Halifax to get out of that own danger zone.
So the pressure is relieved as Graham Holroyd puts that kick into touch. And Halifax, their first opportunity in possession. Here's David Wrench, one of the several season campaigners out there for Matt Calland, the rookie coach who's done a great job in his first season in charge here at Halifax, guiding them to a third-place finish. It could have been better. They led the table at one point, and they've suffered a bit of dip in form in the last few weeks of the season. Not unconnected with that horrid night they suffered against Lee when we were here covering that game, and they picked up 3 serious injuries, and 2 of those players still out of action, Dana Wilson and Dave Larder. But Halifax in action at the moment and on the charge. Gleeson, a great sniping run from him. He has been a boost for them since he joined them on loan for Warrington. And Halifax poised here now. Holroyd stabs the early kick in. Oof, and that was confidently dealt with by Gavin Dodd.
I think it was always going to go too hard, wasn't it? As soon as it went off the boot, too much speed on the ball. Great defensive read there by Gavin Dodd as a wingman to recognise that that ball was going to go out of play. Now look, this is a big factor for Widnes. We've seen them several times. The 2 and the 5, both wingers, get involved so often and make 10 metres plus on their carries. It really sets the platform for the following 3 or 4 tackles.
And they're identikit figures, actually, Gavin Dodd and Dean Gaskell, and they're both about the same size, both same sort of running style, and now they've both had their heads shaved. Well, here they come with John Duffy. And Duffy, oh, that was a great offload. I don't think Ian Hardman, I think he'd probably given up on that one, but he could have been in there.
Well, that's a nice indication, though, that Widnes are prepared to support the ball carrier when at all possible, get their arms free. It was a decent attempt. It was a play that I think Duffy had to take at that point, and unfortunately for Hardman, he couldn't convert it into points.
In the opening first 3 minutes of this game, both Matt Callan and Steve McCormick won't be happy by both teams. They're not controlling the ruck. Halifax on the set before went 87 metres. Widnes got the ball, they went up the other end. You've got to feel that whoever controls ruck will go a long way in winning this game.
On halfway then, 4 tackles gone for Halifax in this set of 6, and they're going down the short side with Gleeson again, joined on loan in July, and that originally was the end of this season. He's now signed on for 2009 with the Halifax club. Holroyd hoists the kick, putting pressure on Gavin Dodd. It's a great kick and well taken, wonderfully picked up by Paul Smith. Smith on the inside, first try of the game. Ben Black with the try. Oh, how wonderfully well worked that was. James Haley integral in it. And the kick putting great pressure on Gavin Dodd, as did the chasers. And it finished off with Ben Black's 7th try of the season.
Well, it's pretty easy to see just why this side are so entertaining to watch. This has some wonderful skills. The kick is almost uncatchable. It swirls and dips and spins away. Halifax managed to get their hands on the ball. Smith does remarkably well to stay in the field of play, and then Bam Black is on the inside there for support. Look at the catch here from James Halley. It's a great one, but I think this is a real play in this. Number 12, Paul Smith, stays in the field of play. His balance must have been drifting outside the tram line, but he kept his balance. And an early score here now for Halifax has indicated we're going to see some points in this game.
It was great footwork from Paul Smith, because he's a big guy, second rower, and he tiptoed down the sidelines there. Now Graham Holroyd to break the club record for goals in the season. He's failed with that one, still on 147, level with Tuss Griffiths, that record set 52 years ago, and Holroyd on 147, Halifax 4-0 up.
Gavin Dodd, whenever you stand on the back line, you've got to attack the ball. You can't just wait and see if you can get on top of the hook, or just be confident in really getting the man to ground. Halifax will always promote this ball and look to offload it. And in Ben Black and Graham Holroyd, you've got to put pressure on them. If you've got any chance of getting your back free to catch the ball on the full, you must pressure the kicker.
So that's lifted the Halifax supporters, hoping to see their side progress in this playoff series. They went out at the hands of Widnes last season, and 6 minutes on the clock, and it's been an eventful 6 minutes already, and Gleeson furious with himself there.
Well, I think it's Damien Gibson who's the one really here now, just to knock on, I think. an incorrect play of the ball. Perhaps it's a little sloppy as he gets up. It's scrims around. There's nothing wrong with Gleeson's pick up and pass. But before that, the referee says, well, in actual fact, perhaps there's a Widnes foot, maybe from Richard Fletcher involved. Nevertheless, Widnes here now, just 18 metres from the line and looking to reply.
Well, that's maybe a break for Widnes, that decision. Dean, wearing 11, playing in the second row for the Widnes Vikings tonight. Normally used in centres since he's joined on loan from St Helens. Matty Smith making progress. And then Mark Smith changes direction. Bezic stabs the kick in. It's a good... Oh, it was a teasing one. Just too long. But Gibson had his heart in his mouth then because Gavin Dodd was looking for redemption.
Perhaps a rather unusual tactic. Only 3 tackles already gone in a set of 6. On a pitch here which is firm, and the ball, we've seen bounces and races over that dead ball line. It's very hard if you kick the ball end on end to get it to sit up, to almost put a handbrake on possession. Oh, the Halifax have lost the ball again.
And the penalty, in fact, goes Halifax's way this time. Widnes are judged to have had a hand in there. Ian Morrison, the culprit, we suspect. And Ian Morrison, a cat on a hot tin roof tonight because his wife, Donna, at home and due to give birth to their second child any day now. In fact, he's half expecting a phone call here tonight to tell him to get to the hospital quickly, hoping he gets the game under his belt before that happens. But it's Halifax on the attack at the moment with David Wrench, and Wrench again ball stealing according to the referee. John Duffy doesn't agree with that.
Well, the worry here now for Widnes, no, he doesn't agree, but maybe it did look, didn't it, from that angle. The referee has to make a tough call, instantly has to decide, was it stripped? The more you look at it, probably was. But penalty, try is a common sequence in rugby league. Halifax have just received 2 penalties, and they're in a perfect position now to complement that with a try. Well,
Matt Callan certainly hopes so. Here's Richard Varkulis. Takes the first tackle. Gleeson, Holroyd now. Ben Black, scorer of that first try. Paul Smith, creator of that try. Smith is tackled. Here's Paul Southern now. Southern, not a good pass. Gleeson flapped at it. It's scooped up by Black. Black puts the kick in. They'll chase this one, but Gaskell is back there to tidy up. It's good defence by Halifax. They forced the goal line dropout, though. They didn't give up on that one. Gaskell suggesting that the tackle had been completed.
I think there's been a high level of skill from Halifax. That kick's a perfect one, isn't it? Just short of the try line. Gaskell has to dip down and get possession, but he's inevitably then going to lose that 3-on-1 battle, and he's pushed back into the goal area. Goal line dropout now here for Widnes, and almost a repeated set of 6, so they've been on the line for 6 tackles, or several. They're going to have several more to face here.
They feel under pressure, don't it? It's all come from the kick from Bob Bezic on the 3rd play, when realistically it would have been easier to try and ask more questions of the Halifax defence. Give a couple of penalties away, and they find themselves now defending in their own 30 against a team like Halifax, who can score points when they're down this end of the pitch.
Paul Southern then takes the first tackle, and he's knocked that ball on, and all that possession comes to nothing.
Well, I think on the 3rd occasion it was inevitably going to go Widnes' way.
And the ball just seemed to squirt out of his grasp there. Well, Widnes probably breathing a sigh of relief. They've got the ball back, having endured a bit of a rocky spell there. Halifax ahead by 4 points to 0 in this elimination playoff. The losers going out. Here is dad-to-be Ian Morrison, and Morrison... Well, the penalty awarded to Widnes, offside. And Ian Morrison was on his way to the try line there.
Well, you can see clearly that Halifax players not quite back with the referee. Now Widnes here looking to use this period of possession far better than the last time they were at their opponent's try line.
Just a bit of a pause while the second ball is removed from the field.
Great formation here for Widnes to attack with, and they're going wide with width.
Well, they were. And then they're bottled up in the middle of the field. It's Matty Smith who was tackled, Mark Smith. Here's Bezic now. Bezic taking him on himself. Just for a moment, it looked as though it was going to open up for him. It's a bit of a sloppy play, the ball, but they've kept it alive. Here is Morrison. Forward shout the Halifax supporters. Nothing doing from referee Jamie Lee. Widnes again. Great opportunity for them here as Duffy gets the ball away to Gannon. Gannon trundling across the field. Good offload from him, under a bit of pressure there. Dean, that's the 5th tackle. The ball's back with Matty Smith. He'll hoist a crossfield kick. Gaskell will go up against Patterson and come off second best.
Well, a knock on, I think, on the last tackle. Here's a turnover in possession. A good kick, really. Both wingmen up in the air, contesting possession. The Halifax have the relief. Do you know, the team at this level in the playoffs who will go on to win are the ones who can defend the try line the best over the course of 80 minutes. The nature of rugby league means that both sides will have an opportunity to attack their opponent's line, but the one who can withstand that and go away without conceding points will be the ultimate winners here tonight.
Well, in that case, you wouldn't put your money on Halifax, would you? Because they've conceded 514 points, the highest of any of the sides in the top 6. OK, they've scored plenty, but they let a lot in.
But on this 12 minutes tonight, we've seen Widnes twice at the Halifax line, and on 2 occasions, Halifax have looked very strong and in control.
Oh, look at that from Holroyd. What a delicate kick that is for Black. Oh, and Black can't get the pass inside. It was on the last. Widnes pick it up, but great thinking from Graham Holroyd. 32 years old, 16 years since he made that Leeds debut. He's still got all the tricks in the book.
Well, the thing you'd say about Halifax is the variety of attack. Remember, a short kick-off to start the game, a cross-field torpedo bomb which led to the first try, and then a short kick in behind the defensive line on that occasion. That variety makes it more difficult for Widnes to defend against.
And every time that they put a play, it is that attacking play. All the Widnes play is standing back expecting the high ball to go through. But this is what Halifax can't do. If they want to win this game, they cannot give the penalties away.
Offside against Halifax. Danny Heaton just on the field. The man picked out. So that gives Widnes an opportunity. Gannon takes the first tackle. Now another of the big guys, Richard Fletcher. Big second rower, tackled about 5 metres out now. Mark Smith, Matty Smith. Here's the fullback, Hardman. Shad Royston with the tackle. Bezic. Adel Fallouse, and Fallouse almost bumping off the first tackle and spinning away, but then he's caught by the Halifax defenders and stopped just short, the Frenchman. That's virtually his first touch. I think it was his first touch. Here's Matty Smith now. Tyra trying to get the ball round the corner. Couldn't do so, but still kept a hold of it. It was Tim Hartley, in fact. So now crossfield kick. Matty Smith. Gibson is underneath it. That was in fact patted forward by Steve Tyra. And the pressure is off Halifax for the moment.
Well, again, you'd have to say Halifax looking very strong, in good control and strong commitment as well from most of the players there to withstand what Widnes had to throw at them in attack. Oh!
Adel Fallouse with the hit.
If there's any player I like watching, it's this guy, Adel Fallouse, the French international. If there's any likeness to any other player who's playing in this country, it's Feka Paliasina. He gets the ball, he takes the direct route and wants to run over the top of somebody.
He also dishes out the big hit, so that's sloppy from Halifax. It went backwards, says the referee. Suspicion of a bit of a knock-on in that, but Halifax retained possession. It's with Varkulis. He gets the ball away to Gleeson. Gleeson takes the tackle, and Halifax inside their own 40 on the 5th, and Holroyd under a bit of pressure still gets a good kick away, finds the middle of the field between Hardman and Gavin Dodd, and finds in fact the dead ball line.
I think he would have preferred for it to stay in play, but he did well, didn't he? Under pressure to put the ball between the fullback and winger. Showed a wonderful talent for his kick so far. His last pass was an inaccurate one, and that put aside under pressure, but it's been a threat on the left-hand flank for Halifax tonight.
Gaskell is tackled. Here's Jim Gannon. And now here is Abdel Falous, and Danny Heaton was there to meet him for Halifax. A big collision there between those two, and Falous this time doesn't make much progress, just inside the Halifax half for Widnes. Bezic seemed to be caught in two minds there. That's the fifth tackle. So Matty Smith hoists another one. Miles Greenwood comes for it. Oh, and gets it at the second. Was it the third attempt? Or was it? The ball went forward, said Jamie Leahy.
The offside here, accidental offside. It's gone forward off Miles Greenwood into Shad Royston, I think.
Oh, that's what it was. That's how he got it back. Well spotted. So it's going to be Widnes' head and feet at this scrum.
Listen, fellas, while we're here, we've had quite a few penalties that first quarter of an hour.
The good kick, a little unlucky, wouldn't he? I think he was just about to catch it again before it hit the thighs of 13, Shad Royston, one of his teammates, as he was stood in front of him.
Both teams.
Like that being a deliberate offside, the referee says it's accidentally occurred, and for that reason, Widnes then have the feed at the scrum, which invariably should give them possession. And a wonderful opportunity really to attack. You know, I love to see tries from scrums. Have Widnes got the adventure? Have they got the skill or the talent or speed here from this scrum to exploit, perhaps potentially, a weakness in Halifax's defence?
Mark Gleeson just getting a bit of Vaseline on the eyebrow. Bit of a nick there. And play now can continue, with Widnes having the head and feet at the scrum from that accidental offside, and in possession with Duffy. Plays the ball on the Halifax 20. Well, where Hardman eventually arrived at the scene, but Widnes a bit slow off the mark there. Here is Jim Gannon in front of those Halifax supporters at that end of the ground, and Gannon, with Frank Watini all over him, loses a bit of ground. Was there a knock on there? There was, at the play of the ball. And that was a pretty scrappy set of six. Well, it wasn't even a complete set from Steve McCormack's side.
I think we should give some real reward and recognition to what Halifax did in defence. When you hustle and bustle and rush your opponent down to the ground and rough him up a little bit, you often see as the player gets up, he's slightly disorientated, and a mistake very often occurs. I think that's the reason why the knock-on was given, and the credit there. Halifax's defence has perhaps been a little more aggressive than that from Widnes.
Oh, Falous went looking for Watini there and missed him completely.
I think he was listening to you, Phil.
Well, he's probably the exception, isn't he, at the moment? Falous has made an impact. He keeps charging forward. Going to kill somebody if he hits him full on.
But you know yourself, Phil, when one of your teammates makes a mistake, you've got to rev up and you've got to help him out, haven't you? You've got to make up for that mistake and get your team back in that field position. And that's what the likes of Adel Falous and the rest of the forwards are trying to do.
The Widnes defence up very quickly there, and Ben Black was looking for the big pass and wisely decided to take a grip on the ball himself, but that has stopped the Halifax progress. And it's the fifth tackle, and the game just settling into a bit of a stalemate at the moment after that burst of attacking play from Halifax, and they scored that try through Ben Black. Coming up next Thursday, of course, the big game between the top two, Salford City Reds against the Celtic Crusaders at the Willows, 7:30. Sky Sports Extra next Thursday at 7:30. But tonight it's Halifax against Widnes in the first of the National League playoff games. And it's Widnes in possession, inside their own half. 3 tackles gone. Fletcher plays the ball. Here is Adel Falous again, running straight and taking 3 of them to bring him down in the end. Bezic. Here is Chris Dean. Dean, who did play in the centres when he was at St Helens in their academy lineup, so he's no stranger to that position. Another hoisted kick. What will Greenwood make of this one? Well, he was under that one and collected it very calmly. They've seen, obviously, Miles Greenwood having 1 or 2 problems earlier in the season with the high ball. He's not done so tonight. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
I think Widnes will be a bit disappointed that some of the players hadn't stayed behind the kicker and actually got in there to challenge for possession. Close is okay, but been closer would have made life more difficult for the Halifax fullback. Tended to see though, Bill, the last 5 minutes all in the left half of this field. Halifax just coming out to their own half, getting to about to 40, under pressure before they find a kick.
Yeah, Danny Heaton not making much progress there. Black with the kick, straight downfield. Hardman, well, that one got away from him. And Hardman then got away from Shad Royston, but not from Paul Smith. One-handed pickup from Gavin Dodd. Dodd is tackled, again Smith was there. Steve Tyra, so 20 minutes gone, Halifax 4-0 up. Widnes in possession, here is Dean Gaskell.
He does so much work for Widnes, Dean Gaskell. He's come from the right-hand side, where he's involved in every set of six that Widnes seem to have. He's involved in every play. He wants to get him on the front foot and give the likes of Matty Smith that front foot kick so the Widnes chase can get up there, because they need a big kick chase pressure.
Here is Damien Gibson, a career that of course began with the Leeds Rhinos, but he's been a big favourite here at Halifax. Goddard, and they're offside a Widnes, and there'll be a penalty to Halifax on the halfway line, and Martin McLaughlin just on the field, picked out.
I think this is great play by Halifax. They knew that Widnes had sent an army down the middle of the field to follow the chase on the kick, but didn't have enough men out wide, and Halifax read the situation, went wide, got that 20-metre gain, and then on the back of it with a quick play of the ball, a further penalty for offside. Smart vision there by the Halifax back players.
But you know yourself though, Phil, if you lose the first tackle, it's very hard to control the rest of the set of six. What you must do, you must win that first tackle.
Great pick-up by Gibson. It was forward though, the pass from Paul Smith. And you're joking, or words to that effect. Is Damien Gibson's reaction.
Well, wouldn't have been forward if it was at Wembley last week, was it? He might have got away with it there, but didn't get away with it here tonight.
Hold that 5.
What a shame there. Oh, good pick-up.
Great pick-up by Gibson.
They've
Great
won it
shot
against the
by
head.
Halifax. That's a contested scrum. Oh, it's all coming true for Phil Clark tonight. We've had a novelty kick-off, a contested scrum, and they've got the possession from it, and they're on the attacker, Halifax. Can they capitalise? Black looking for his second try. Widnes shut him out. But they are a bag of tricks, this Halifax side at times. Here's Heaton. Heaton puts the shoulder in, underneath those posts. Holroyd, the master of ceremonies. Not the best pass, but great ball back in field for Greenwood. The Widnes Viking supporters appeal for an obstruction there from Martini, but it was right under the nose of the referee. He didn't see anything wrong with it. Holroyd passes out wide to Smith, but the knock on from Tyra, and Halifax will get another set of 6.
Tyra had his eyes set on here on a 90-metre interception, I'm sure. He knew that Holroyd was going to drift from the back of the play the ball across, throw that pass out wide to Smith. Got his hands into possession but couldn't take it. Well, here's the scrum where Halifax winning against the head. What fantastic play by Frank Martin. You know what, uncertainty of the outcome is what Rugby League's about. Here they are again, run away from the scrum. Can they attack them wide?
Black's pass forced Greenwood to adjust, and Greenwood adjusts superbly, but then his pass is knocked on. It was Goddard, I think, who couldn't take it.
Well, Halifax lose possession. I suppose at this point in the game, you have to have a go at it. He offloads the ball, fires off the chest and goes over the dead ball line. Look at that, he's through, the line's at the beckoning. But Widnes get a tap on the 20-metre line, and I think a great deal of relief to have survived without conceding points.
It wasn't a bad effort from Greenwood, just a bit too much force in the pass. So Halifax, a couple of great opportunities there which they couldn't take advantage of. Now Martin McLaughlin, it's good to see him back in action. Been at Widnes for almost a year now, and this is only his second game because he's had a big shoulder job done. He's fit again, and fit in time to be involved in the playoffs. There's Paul Noon just on the field. He's come on in place of Chris Dean. Now, there was a suggestion before the game that Dean wasn't 100% fit. And Greenwood, well, he's getting used to that. They're giving him plenty of practice.
He looked safe, didn't he? Had to move quite a long way to get under that ball and made it look relatively easy at the end. But it's the distance that the fullback has to travel that usually causes the problems. You know, too many rugby league teams play stereotypical rugby league, but I think the Halifax side have shown an ability to think outside the box, some lateral play, some lateral ideas, not prepared to do what everybody else does in possession.
Holroyd looking for a 40-20, is he? That's going to go out on the full. Well, that's unusual from Graham Holroyd, who's such a good kicker out of hand.
Well, you have to have your risk takers in rugby league. Graham Holroyd is one of those. His pass may have been intercepted. That was an attempted 40-20. But it's what makes the game so exciting. I think conservatively, Widnes have almost been waiting 25 minutes for this. For Halifax to overplay, to gamble on something that doesn't come off, and then capitalise now down at this end of the field.
There's a determination in this Halifax defence. They've conceded too many points. They know that. At this stage of the season, defence is the key. And they're hoping to tighten up on that. Here is Tyra. Looking to keep this Widnes attack at bay, but Widnes just 4 points down here. Fallouse gets away from Watini. Watini comes back at him. Great battle going on between those two. Here's Duffy. Characteristic little shimmy and a step from Duffy. Doesn't fool anybody. Gleeson makes the tackle. Mark Smith pops the ball up. Halifax desperately defending that try line. Smith to Matty Smith, another crossfield kick. Oh, Dodd's got it! Somehow kept a hold of it, and did he get the try? It's going to be video ref decision. Ben Thaler, the video ref tonight, will have to see, presumably, onside in that kick, and also whether there was a knock-on.
Well, it's a heads and tails play, and the attacking side get to make the call. Slightly in favour of the man running to chase this ball. Momentum behind him, he's able to get up off the floor far easier than the defensive player. Just getting to see whether they are all onside. That angle doesn't quite confirm it. I think from initial viewing that they did seem to be behind the kicker. Again, I don't really know whether that angle confirms it or denies it.
Rob, I'll leave that there.
He gets up and over Gibson. It's good timing, isn't it, to get high in the air. At his highest point, he hits possession, gathers it well, controls it well, and grounds it without any problems.
I think this one's going to be given. Gavin Dodd caught out for that early Halifax try, but he is going to get his chance to make amends here, I think. But Ben Thaler has the decision. Has Gavin Dodd got his 14th try of the season? Jamie Leahy waits to see what the decision is. The try is awarded. So Widnes are on level terms. And it was a great piece of athleticism by the Irish international winger, Gavin Dodd. And it's put his side back on level terms, and Steve Tyra, with this conversion attempt, can put Widnes ahead. They've been under the cosh a bit, so for them to be in this position, pretty satisfying for the coach, and they haven't even played that well yet. Tyra, 41 goals to his name already this season. Has he got that one on target? He has. And Widnes hit the lead. Halifax 4, Widnes 6.
It just goes to show that this game's all about field position, and if you're in the right area of the pitch, you can attack. Matty Smith comes up with a pinpoint kick. Steve Tyra, he has got an understanding with him. He knows where to kick, but Gavin Dodd just comes in, jumps higher than the two Halifax players to get hold of this ball. And it's a great skill. He doesn't take his eye off the ball. Steve Tyra putting pressure on the Halifax players, but Gavin Dodd leaping higher than anybody.
So that's brought Widnes right back into the game. Gavin Dodd, yeah, well, that made it all worthwhile, celebrating Steve Tyra's successful conversion. So Widnes, and they haven't actually, I don't think they've played that well so far, the Vikings. They're ahead by 6 points to 4.
Well, they give a lot of penalties away early on. They weren't controlling the speed at which Halifax were playing the game, and Halifax were really dictating the game. But it's a better chase. Look at the kick chase and the pressure that they're putting on, and they weren't doing that in the first 20 minutes of the game.
Coming up to the half-hour mark then, and Halifax with something to think about, because they've looked lively, they've defended well, and they're trailing now. Here's Mark Flanagan off the bench, still a Wigan player. It was Danny Heaton, I beg your pardon. Here's Paul Smith. Smith showed the dummy. Tyra went in to steal it, and now then, who's got that back? It's a knock-on, says the referee. A good work by Steve Tyra. It was one-on-one.
Well, an interesting call, wasn't it?
Who knocked on? If Steve Tyra's stolen that ball...
Halifax knocked on. I don't know how, anyway. Widnes have got to play on, and Halifax have got to recover. Now, it's stolen, isn't it, there? And then lost by Tyra.
Surely it's Tyra that has lost it. Well, Widnes have possession. It's with Tim Hartley. Hartley named in the centres tonight. Christine was in the second row. He's since left the field. But Hartley, another one whose season has taken a bit of time to get going. He had a bad ankle problem. Oh, Fallouse seems to have a problem as he gets to his feet to play the ball. Well, he's had a lively involvement in this game, the French international, and in fact, just off the play there, he's signalled to the bench that all is not well. Morrison is back on the field. I thought he nipped off to the hospital there when he left, but he's still around. Matty Smith hoists the kick. This time it's the other wing that's under pressure, and they just managed to deal with the ball. And Lee Patterson it is who salvages the situation.
There's a certain element about the Widnes attack that almost waits till the last play and then puts the crossfield kick to the corner. I'm not so sure really whether they challenged Halifax enough in the 5 tackles prior to the kick, but they're just content to be at this part of the field and hope for a Halifax overexcitement or mistake.
Halifax keeping the ball alive there until Frank Watini is tackled. Sean Penkovic is on the field. He'll spark things up. Normally the Halifax captain, of course, Damien Gibson, having that job tonight. Penkovic under pressure. Black, though, gets the kick away. Sean Penkovic did well, and that's a good kick to touch from Ben Black, and gets them out of a bit of a hole there because they were under pressure from a really good harassing set from Widnes.
He's a very clever player, Ben Black, and knowing that just to get up into that field position. But you've just touched on him, Sean Penkovic. Whenever he's on and they get a quick play the ball, he's so dangerous. He gets out, he's darting runs, and he's really destructive around that dummy half. The way he ties the markers in, he really brings the big guys onto the ball. But you've got to make sure you lock Sean Penkovic up.
You'll get where you need to be.
Widnes head and feet at the scrum, and do it again, says the referee, and that's going to be...
And that's good refereeing. Halifax don't have enough players in the scrum. He gave them a chance. They didn't get a loose forward into that position. You see, number 1, Miles Greenwood, is effectively should be the loose forward. The last person in that scrum isn't there. Penalty to Widnes, and therefore they gain 30 metres.
And they immediately take it further forward with Paul Noon, and Noon gets the ball away well. Here is Jim Gannon. Gannon, though, is stopped in his tracks. That was good defence. And it was Mark Flanagan that time. Here's Ian Morrison. London-born, but adopted northerner now, Morrison. You wouldn't know it to talk to him, though. Here is Noon. It was Royston with the tackle. Well, it hit the shins of Matty Smith, and that was a lucky break for the Vikings. Duffy now back on the inside for Richard Fletcher. A bit more confidence about this Widnes side. They're just starting to run the show a bit here. The kick rebounds, and rebounds kindly into the hands of Ben Black. Now then, Black has got support, but Black maybe has the pace. He has. He'll get his second try of the game. What a lucky break that is for Ben Black, finishing off that attack. But it's going to be a video ref decision. The ball ricocheting.
Position there when he's played at the ball.
Was he onside is the question that Jamie Leahy wants answered from the video ref.
Well, again, it's a last tackle play from the Widnes side. This time it's a short kick from Smith. tries to put it behind the line. And then as it ricochets off the first player, I think that the Halifax players who get involved are behind the man in possession. You see Gleeson retires, he retreats out of the way, and there's nothing wrong with this. And I tell you what, that's amazing speed to fend Stephen Tyrer from that position. This might just give us another view on that. It ricochets forward, I think it's off Danny Heaton. Gleeson retires, Ben Black's in an onside position, comes forward, picks it up well, and this is a good fend on the chest there, look, into the chest, the sternum of Tyrer, and then the pace to go 60 metres and score to put Halifax ahead again.
Or has he? The try is awarded, and Ben Black gets try number 2, and that is a real pressure-relieving effort for this Halifax side, because the game was starting to go the Vikings' way. They were under pressure once again. The ball popped up for Ben Black, and he's finished it off. Now then, can Holroyd finish this one off and claim this goals in a season record from Welshman Tuss Griffiths? This time, the odds are on Holroyd. He's done it. And a big cheer from the Fax supporters. They know how significant that was. Goal number 148 of the season for him. He was saying on Boots and All last night that it would be a big privilege and a proud achievement to break a long-held record like that. It took Ben Black's try to give him the opportunity to do that. Ben Black's 8th try of the season. So, Halifax have the lead by 10 points to 6. David Wrench is back on the field, playing the ball there. His opposite number, Jim Gannon, just giving him a bit of a shove. And Widnes really going into the tackle here the last 6 minutes of this first half. Stung by that. There is Holroyd, voted the supporters player of the year.
And he's the reason why they're predominantly playing down that left-hand side, because he controls everything that Halifax do. And you can see him looking up and he's probing and he's bossing about Sean Penkovich's of this world and Gleeson. He's always looking to attack, and look at him there, pushing out the players. He wants the ball, he wants to control the game.
Hoisting that kick. Oh, Hartman! How did he manage that one? I think he could get a job at the circus.
Great skill, isn't it? I mean, almost lost it, to tap it forward and regather. Oh, there's some aggression now here from this Halifax. Look, juggles it up, tips it up, back.
Got it in the end, did the fullback. And Widnes in possession. Long spell at St Helens, of course, Ian Hardman. Still only 22 years of age. Seen a lot in the game. Gannon plays the ball. Bezic claiming that Widnes were impeded there. That's the 5th tackle. What do you reckon this one will go up in the air? No, it's a little dink over the top from Duffy. This time behind Gibson, but Gibson, a wily old character, was awaiting that one. Halifax supporters not impressed by the challenge. Ooh, they weren't too impressed by that pass right across the face of the posts. And Miles Greenwood was under a little bit of pressure. Good defence there as Halifax looked to get the ball back. The ball out wide it was. Well, Widnes with 1 or 2 problems. Let's hear about that from the touchline Ben Pro.
The most serious Adel Fallouse, Bill, the substitute for Widnes, came off with a very painful looking right knee injury. It's not a right knee problem, in fact, damage to the soft tissue.
40-20 kick from Holroyd. The 40-20 from Holroyd coming at a crucial moment of the game here. Well, a crucial moment in this first half. We were talking about his kicking game. There's evidence of it.
He attempted one earlier in this game, it backfired, and Widnes scored in the set following it. This time, Halifax have an opportunity to score now at this end of the field. We've seen from a previous scrum, they did a run around and almost scored, but lost the ball on the first play. They've got 6 tackles here now, in which to attempt to get 6 more points.
So Adel Fallouse cropped. We'll get a bit more news from Ben in a moment, but Halifax have possession. Here is Holroyd, architect of this situation. Greenwood trying to weave his way through. Morrison, Fletcher and Hardman with the tackling. Ben Black, he's got 2 tries to his name already. Gleeson pops the ball back up for James Haley. Haley across the field. looking for Penkovic. Penkovic ducking and diving and still getting it away to Ben Black. They've got numbers out wide here. Black pops the ball up. They're in with Heaton. Mark Flanagan, the try scorer for Halifax. That 40-20 kick paying off, and it was Halifax on the charge. And Mark Flanagan finishing it off, getting his 4th try of the season.
You've seen all the skills that make this such a great sport. It's a kick that capitalises on a brilliant rule, and then there's some skill here involved in this. They keep the ball alive first on the right-hand side of the field, and then eventually come back in field. They've got men prepared to get behind the ball carrier, supporting whenever possible. And then they've got other men who are prepared to run into holes between defenders. Look at that. Black's just waiting for Flanagan to hit the hole, hits him with a pass, and this should be another 6 points.
Holroyd, having broken the record, extends it now with another success, and what a turnaround in this game. 16-6 now, Halifax lead. And it looked 5 minutes ago as though Widnes were just starting to get a grip on the game.
And it just goes to show, doesn't it? Ben Black just gets the ball, he looks up, he takes it to the line. Flanagan hits a real good hole outside of Jim Gannon and gets up. Matt Callan will be over the moon with that, but that just goes to show that against Halifax and teams that like playing rugby and like attacking, you've got to concentrate.
So joy for Mark Flanagan then. Still got this loan deal here. A Wigan player, but has enjoyed a successful spell here at Halifax. Just get the rest of that injury news from Ben.
More pain for Widnes on the bench, Bill. Adolphe Fallouz has some soft tissue damage to his right thigh, and Christine, it's the right arm, same problem, soft tissue damage. The Vikings physio confident, though, they'll both return for the second half.
Although, as I mentioned, a few doubts about the fitness of Christine before the game, but still time here for Widnes to hit back, as Halifax are guilty of knocking that ball on there. Penkovic couldn't take the pass.
They get just over 30 seconds here to attack. Then they're going to have to show greater enterprise than they have some previous times. They can't wait for the kick on this. Oh, they kick the first.
They're going early with the kick, and Black is back there to gather the ball, and that comes to nothing.
We were talking about this before the game, and me and Phil saying that realistically, though, he's got to put the ball in the air, hasn't he, and challenge for the ball. Putting it on the floor, the Halifax players are there. At least if it's in the air, you can challenge and see if you can get on top of the Halifax player to catch the ball.
Frustration then for the Vikings, and this big army of supporters who've travelled for this game tonight in the hope of seeing their side stay alive in the playoffs. But at the moment, it's Halifax in the ascendancy. Matt Callan's side, having taken a 4-0 lead, seeing that pegged back 6-4, and then hitting back in the closing minutes of this first half with 2 cracking tries.